This is chromatic aberration. It's a magenta and cyan fringe caused by most of the lenses we use. The good news is it's something easily fixed. But if we don't fix it and we add more saturation to our image, we can make the issue far worse. Now, will this issue alone spoil our image? No, probably not. But it's one of those important steps that contribute to image quality. Whenever we open up an image into Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom and we're looking at the entire image, we very rarely see chromatic aberration, and that's the problem because it can be easily missed. Now, we were looking a few moments ago at this area here, so let me click and zoom to bring this up quite large on the screen. Or maybe I can find a better example. Let's come in even tighter. There I think we can see the magenta and the cyan either side of those branches. Now, if we go to our basic tab, and this is a sunset style image, so I would be pushing up the vibrance, we're going to make that a lot worse. You can see it quite clearly here. I'm going to leave that vibrance up for a moment because if we then go to the optics section, we've got two options here: remove chromatic aberration and use profile corrections. I'll come back to this in a moment. Have a look around this area as I tick the box. Look at how effective that is. The only reason we're still seeing a little bit of warmth around here is the nature of the image itself. Let me hit Ctrl-0 because we're looking at an image which was shot around sunset. And of course, while looking at the success of ticking that box here, we've got to take into account that just a few moments ago I pushed up the vibrance quite considerably. Now, as we open up more and more images into Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom, if you're a Lightroom user, and we start to look for chromatic aberration, we will find it, sometimes to a greater degree, sometimes to a lesser degree. Now, I've grown so confident with this setting to remove chromatic aberration that I actually apply it automatically, and I also add the profile corrections too. But let me just zoom into this image to show you that we do have chromatic aberration here, but it's slightly different to what we saw a few moments ago. We don't appear to have any magenta, but we certainly have the cyan. But once again, as soon as I tick the box, it's virtually removed entirely. A really first-class job. I'll hit Ctrl-0 to fit this on screen. Now keep your eye on the picture while I go to the profile corrections and tick and untick the box. Now, what's happening here? This option identifies the lens that we've used and it applies corrections for known distortions. So if I'm going to set up something which is automatic to be applied to every raw image I open, I choose to tick both of those boxes. But what we need to do now is to save those settings. To do that, we go to this little option on the right hand side in the toolbox and we choose Create a Preset. I'm going to give this a name. I think I'll just call this my optics. And it's going to be placed in a group called User Presets. I am happy with that. Now, I've only got those two settings set here, so I don't have to worry really about any of these here. I'm just going to click OK. So now I need to go up to the top right, the little cogwheel, because we can set up that preset to be applied automatically. In the options here, we need raw defaults, and in the global here, we're going to click, go to choose preset, user preset, and optics, and OK. Any thumbnail that I now open up from Adobe's Bridge into Camera Raw, those two settings are going to be applied automatically. So here I've jumped back to a folder of pictures that I shot in 2013, and we can just pick any one of these. Let's choose the one on the left here. When I double click and open this up into Camera Raw, if you look over to the right hand side, you can see the chromatic aberration and the profile corrections have already been applied.